I understand the EU Chamber of Commerce in China has also come up with many constructive suggestions to refine China's business environment or further open up its market. That's your job, right? So what's your evaluation of the Chinese government's responses to those suggestions?
Our annual position paper, it's got over 800 recommendations from close to 40 different working groups on how to improve the business environment in China. And we meet with our Chinese counterparts throughout the year. We get their input in the drafting process and we share it with them afterwards. And it's overall, it's a very good and positive relationship. Obviously, not everything we ask for is always implemented right away. But I think it's extremely important for us to have that dialogue and for China to be aware of the views of the business community, the foreign business community in that regard. A few years ago, we did a review of our position paper and what we had seen from when China graduated from its WTO accession period up until 2015, that 10-year period. And we found that approximately half of our recommendations had either been resolved or disappeared or were no longer needed. And so it's good to take stock, to keep track of things, and to move forward accordingly.
And we want to know specifically which sectors do you think that the Chinese side may, do more or speed up its process of settling our, concerns or resolve those issues? I
think the biggest concern right now is a horizontal one, and it's related to security issues. In the last few years, we've seen a number of important documents come out, the national security law, the cyber security law, and these documents, European companies, like all companies, want to be compliant, but the wording in these documents is so wide that there's concerns that many companies here may in the future not be eligible or able to conduct business, either because of information and intelligence that they need to either share with the government or that they need to move and localize here in China, or because it may be deemed as a sector where only the state should be involved. And so that's a real risk. Recent information we've seen suggests that anyone with over a million customers, for example, could be ensnared in this cybersecurity law. And so we need clarity about that, and we need to make sure that China, quite frankly, doesn't turn inward. In the 14th five-year plan, there's a significant focus on self-reliance. And it reminds us a little bit of 40, 50 years ago, where China also wanted to become self-reliant. It felt it couldn't be reliant on the rest of the world. And I think we can understand where some of that is coming from based on certain international tensions that have taken place. But at the same time, we don't want to forget the importance of the 5 things that I talked about earlier, and that is the private sector. If the state takes too big a role, you're going to squeeze out the private sector. Openness, trade. I mean, if you become more self-reliant, it means you're less reliant on external factors, and that's basically trade. Foreign investment in technology as well. If that technology is not recognized here, companies won't bring it. And so even though we have a lot of confidence in the market here, it may not be the same market that we have in Europe and elsewhere around the world. And as a result, that's gonna come with additional costs. And it may mean that it's more costly to do business because you have to localize and you have to use other suppliers, or it may mean that you're excluded from the market altogether. So that's a very real reality that we're facing now. So